There's a storm across the valley. The clouds are rolling in. The afternoon is heavy on your shoulders. There's a truck out on the 4-lane, a mile or more away. The whining of his wheels just makes it colder.
Welcome to Community Forum. My name is Priscilla, Almquist-Olsen, your host. Today is July 14th, 2023. And it is with a great deal of pleasure that I welcome to today's show Lori Ventura and her husband Wallace Lueders, which is German, and I can't help pronouncing it like that. But I know, Wallace, people say leaders?
Correct. Yeah.
Okay.
That's what we were taught as we were being raised up.
I see. All right. So we have the original pronunciation here. And they have, I first met them in church, and that has a lot to do with our program today. I met them at Holy Trinity Lutheran Church with their members, and so am I on Lincoln Street, in case you're wondering. And they have been sponsoring children in Africa, Philippines, and Haiti. And for many years, Lori has been doing this. And she has been married now to Wallace for 3 years, I hear, and he has joined her in this mission, and it's a wonderful mission. They are sponsors, and they go on mission trips and meet their sponsors, but they also aid in the countries that they're visiting, the people who are mentoring their sponsors. So welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for having us.
Oh, you're so welcome. And tell me, Lori, why don't you give us a little background on how you got involved many years ago? And by the way, they're sponsoring 25 children. 25. That is truly amazing. And at the end of the show, you will have an opportunity also to sponsor at least one child or more. And we'll give you the information on how to contact and see if it's something that you personally want to do. So, Lori, you got involved many years ago. Tell us about that.
I first heard about the all-volunteer group, His Hands Ministries, in the early 2000s. I was a special ed administrator in a district that had a large Haitian American population, and I noticed when kids would come to us from Haiti, there was a huge dichotomy in their skill set. There were students high school age who weren't literate in any language, and then there were students who were quite strong academically. What I learned was that the students who were quite strong academically had sponsors, particularly through this program, His Hands for Haiti. Haiti, like a number of other countries in the world, has no free nor no compulsory education. It costs us, for example, $10 a month to sponsor children, which covers their schooling, 2 uniforms, and 1 meal a day. That's, $120 a year. But the average income for a family of 4 in Haiti is something like $400. So they couldn't afford what we could do easily. I did a lot of research, and I found out that unlike a number of other groups, which, while still good, have overhead expenses, His Hands Ministries, it's all volunteer. Everything goes directly to the kids in the schools, so I chose that group to sponsor with. And it's been so rewarding. When they started off in 2003, Haiti was the only country they served, and now they're up to something like 21 countries. So they do a lot.
And what is the mechanism by which these children are educated and cared for?
A number of the schools in some countries are actually church-run. The kids live in a variety of places. Some programs serve kids in orphanages. Some have kids who don't have homes. They live on the street. And some have families that they live with. So they really run the whole gamut.
But where do they meet in order to help educate these kids?
Oh, usually a head of school or a pastor is sort of the conduit who makes the referrals. reaches out to one of the volunteers. Each country has a volunteer program director. We are not that. We have a very small role. We're sponsors and we've been on some mission trips, but there actually are volunteer directors who field the referrals.
So, do they conduct educational programs for the children?
They do. Our sponsorship fees enable the kids to go to school.
I see. Okay, and it also feeds them once a day.
Yeah.
Now, I sponsor a child in Uganda. Have for the past 5 years. It's under Compassion International, but it's a lot more money a month. And I now I understand why, because they don't have a fully volunteer program. They have an administrative overhead. But the pastors and churches involved in the countries are all volunteer. No, I guess they get paid too. Yeah, they get paid too. So it's quite different. So, for example, this month it's gone from $38 to $43 a month. So your program is probably a lot more enticing, and because I could actually sponsor 4 children instead of just 1.
The sponsorship fees do vary per country, and that relates to the educational cost and the strength of the dollar in those countries. In Haiti, for example, it's $10 a month to sponsor a child. That's also true for the Philippines, although it is going up to $12.50. But Guatemala, for example, is $30 a month. So it's still less than what you've described, but there are variations. And we also sponsor widows in Kenya and cover their housing and food, and that's $25 a month. So you can go on the website and pick and choose wherever you want to sponsor a child. There are many options.
Now, are there times when you're asked to give a gift to the family, and a birthday gift, a Christmas gift?
You're never asked to, but you can.
Okay. I have found, especially in Uganda, where there's a food crisis, and so I have given some substantial amounts directly to the family, my girl, and I think that's really wonderful and important. However, it was acknowledged that only 90% of whatever I give goes directly to that family. So there's that 10% administrative cost, and that can be troubling. Yeah. So Wallace, you joined Lori 3 years ago in marriage and adventure, and how's it been?
Oh, it's fantastic. I met Lori in 2017. It took us a little while to get to the point of realizing that it was just a wonderful experience. And I just fell head over heels for this woman, and she introduced me to this program, which is just another one of her really fabulous, generous traits. And so I've gotten involved, started sponsoring children the first year I met her, and have been adding to the total ever since. And we've had the opportunity to actually go to at least 2 of the countries and personally meet not only the kids we sponsor, but those that need to find a sponsor. And our work in country essentially collects the information that enables us to promote and identify where the need is.
I see. So do you have, are you on Facebook? I'm sure you are. And you must then promote the programs that you sponsor on Facebook, so that you're constantly trying to get and encourage people to become sponsors.
Well, we actually do post excerpts from our in-country missions. And we promote it amongst other people we know. For example, we did make a small presentation at the church before we went on this latest mission to the Philippines. we were invited by Pastor
Pastor Polk?
Pastor Polk, yes. He blessed our mission, and the support of the congregation was certainly appreciated.
Yes. Well, we all enjoyed listening to your mission trips, and I understand we're going to have another one. Where are you going now, Lori?
Well, we've been asked to go to Nicaragua in February, so assuming that everything holds well and the country's stable enough for us to go, we'll be going there instead of going to the Philippines, because we have a conflict in schedule with the May timing that works for the Philippines.
Mm-hmm. I see. So you're getting around the world. You're seeing part of the world, but you're also providing support for the program. His Hands for the Philippines, His Hands for Haiti, His Hands for Nicaragua now, and the other 18 countries that have this wonderful program. Now, how did this program get started? Do you know the history?
Well, I know that there was a couple, Jamie Charles and her husband, Philip, who felt led to form this group, all volunteer. They lived in Maine at the time, Peru, Maine. So a number of the volunteers are still based in Maine. Jamie and her husband have relocated to Florida. And then there are people all over the country, actually, who are assigned to run the projects in different countries. We are sponsors who've been really honored to be invited to go on trips. That is our role.
Mm-hmm. And when you're there, besides meeting your sponsored children, what else? What are you do have some extra duties, don't you?
We do. My role is as the photographer. If you go on, say, hishandsforthephilippines.org, go to the website, you'll see children who need sponsors. I took their photos. What Wallace does is he takes their vital stats, their height and their weight, and it's kind of a dipstick to see from year to year. Are they growing? Are they okay? And then there are other team members who travel with us who will interview the students. There's usually a translator to ask them questions like, do they have a message for their sponsor? Oh, they're always so grateful. What do they like to do? What are their chores around the house? What do they like about school? Those kinds of questions, so that each sponsor gets an update every year.
Oh, isn't that wonderful?
Yeah.
Okay. And I'm sure they use those for promotional purposes too.
They do.
Mm. So tell me, what has inspired you to continue in this program? What stands out as a highlight for you? Wallace?
Well, of course, the power of the dollar in these countries is amazing. That what we think of as a meager amount goes a long way in making a difference for these children and their families. So, it's a lot of work while we're there. It's long days, third world country environment.
No real bathrooms or running water, things like that.
Yeah. And having said that, we're always welcome, and we're treated like visiting royalty almost when we go to these places, and it's extremely fulfilling.
Lori, how do you feel? What inspires you, and what's been a highlight?
Well, I knew going into it that sponsorship has the ability to make a real difference, because I saw it in the Haitian refugees who came to my school district. I think what stands out for us is that this year was our second trip to the Philippines. The kids knew us. They knew we were coming. We were greeted with pictures and letters they'd written, big hugs. Their parents came to greet us and thank us. We were welcomed into their families. We saw how grateful they were. We saw what a difference they made. We saw how much they loved and took care of each other, too. That just meant so much.
Yeah. So, and how many years has this program been around, you know?
Since 2003. It started off with Haiti.
I imagine there perhaps are children who have graduated what we would call high school, and maybe even a few who've gone on to college. Do you know if that's true?
I've stayed in touch with one of them. The first girl I ever sponsored in Haiti. She's now 33 years old.
Oh my gosh.
Mm-hmm. On our first trip to Haiti, she knew that we were coming. She traveled 2 hours each way by a tap-tap, which is a truck. That's their public transportation. When you want to get off, you tap-tap on the truck and you jump off. The first time she traveled there, we were out and she had no way to reach us, so she came back the next day to say thank you. She's 33 years old, $10 a month, which actually was $50 a year way back when I started, was able to put her through school, put her through nursing school. She's now a nurse. She lives in Cap Haitian, in a country that has like an 80% illiteracy rate. She's got a graduate degree thanks to this program.
It's wonderful.
So yes, it's been very gratifying.
And are there any of these graduates who actually make their way to the United States?
I don't know. None of the children I've sponsored have.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
That I know of.
Mm-hmm. I think that's generally in countries where the language is English. Kenya, for example. Now, did you sponsor someone in Kenya?
We sponsored 2 widows in Kenya.
Oh, wow.
Mm.
Okay.
They also do have a children's sponsorship program, but we're involved in the widows.
Mm. Now, how did you learn about this program, His Hands for, and then just name the country, right? His Hands for Philippines.
When I started, it was just Haiti. And then I would get their newsletter and keep up and realize, oh, wow, now they have Mexico. Oh, now they have Guatemala, Honduras, Nicaragua, and so on. Uganda, Rwanda. And so I kept appraised and just tacked on a few as I could, when I could.
Yeah. So what do you recommend to our viewers out there? Let's have a pitch for this program. Wallace, you want to give us your pitch?
Well, you know, I get back to that power of the dollar thing that I mentioned a little while ago, that for very short money, you can make a big difference in people's lives. And, you know, it just feels like a very, very rewarding thing to do.
And when you think about the cost of a cup of coffee, and if you have 30 of those a month, you could probably sponsor 3 or 4 kids.
Good point.
Yeah, right. So, you know, and I was thinking about that when I was looking at one of the brochures, whether it was Shaw's or Market Basket for this week. And I saw the prices, especially the bakery goods. And of course, I don't buy any of those. All that processed food, not good for you. But $4 for 4 muffins or something like that, I don't know. And I thought, $4, that in these countries, if you're lucky, you can make that in 2 days. So it's just amazing. It does make a big difference. Our money can go such a long way. And so, Lori, what would be your pitch for the viewers out there to get involved?
Go to the website, His Hands Support Ministries.org. And you'll see a homepage, view our programs. Choose whatever country you're interested in. You can't go wrong. You'll see the prices will vary for sponsorship. You'll see pages and pages of children who are waiting for sponsors. Certain countries, they have more volunteer staff. The children will write to you. From the Philippines, for example, you'll get a couple of letters a year from the kids. Haiti, not so much. The need is so great there. They don't really have the support as an option. But there are a number of other countries. Sometimes people will say to me, there's need in the United States too. And it's true, there is. But what's different is that in the United States, we have free public schooling. There are countries in the world that don't have that. Without these programs, the children won't have an education. I think the best thing any one of us can do to help the world is help a child get educated.
Absolutely. Because then they have the bootstraps to pull themselves up. And make something for themselves, but also for their families. A lot of these children, when they grow up and finish school and go on, if they have the education, they can then get jobs that pay more than what their family is used to, and they support their parents and their siblings. There's a there's a ripple effect. Now, Lori has laryngitis.
Oh, excuse me.
So she doesn't sound the way she's speaking today. She has a lovely voice when she doesn't have laryngitis. But I hope all of you out there have been able to understand her. I'm sure you have, because I'm sitting here. I hear every word. It's so heartfelt and from the heart. And Wallace, too. The two of you make a great team. I am so, as a friend and colleague, I'm so proud of both of you. And you have been such a influence in our church. And I think it's probably a time to have one of those sign up for his hands for Haiti, his hands for Nicaragua, his hands for
Philippines,
his hands for Kenya, whatever. Let's do that. And for you out there who have listened to this very inspiring program today, think about it. And some of us would say pray about it, but think about it. Think about what you can do to make a difference in this world, especially in places where life expectancy, because they don't have the help that Lori and Wallace are giving, it's not very long. So they're trying to make a difference. You can make a difference. Please give your thoughtful consideration. And so thank you for watching. Lori, Wallace, thank you for being my guest today.
Thank you so much for having us. If even one child gets a sponsor from this, it will mean the world of difference to that child.
Absolutely.
And I think the sponsors also will benefit from knowing the difference they're making for these children.
And on one other note, don't you send letters to your sponsored children too?
We do.
Yes.
Yes.
And you can email them, and volunteers that will print them and deliver them.
Yes, and I, on Compassion International, I used to write my letters, but now I email them because they get to the kids faster. And also I have the option of sending photos. So my grandkids, my grandkids, my wonderful dog Cruiser, they've all been shared with my sponsored child in Uganda. So she was 4 when I sponsored. She's now 9, and what a difference! And I get her picture all the time. I get her words of gratitude. And the other thing that's so surprising, because it follows through with what Wallace was saying about how far the money goes. She, when I would send a $100 gift to the family, she would tell me how she spent it, and it's in the currency of Uganda. So it, 350,000 whatevers for a cow. Imagine that. Now, the cow it was a calf when they purchased it, and now it's just about to give milk. Think about that. And then the second $100 I gave, she bought 2 goats, but that wasn't all. It was some grains, and I think last month, the $100 went for metal sheets for the roof of the house. But always she spends about 10,000 whatever's for sweets.
Oh, that's
and
cute.
I thought that was so sweet. So you can make a difference for the family as well as the child's education too.
And you know what? You can make a difference for your own family. Because the sponsorship fees are so low, my daughters were each able to begin sponsoring kids when they were in high school. And they've stuck with it through the years, Haiti and India. And it's really helped make them be global citizens. Mm-hmm. And they felt like they were doing something really cool, even though it was really small. So there's that. It's good for our kids too.
Yes. Mm. Yeah. And it's wonderful it's a great feeling when you feel that you have done something to make a difference in this world, because we can't always find that place, and this is one place that we can do that. So pay attention to the information that follows this interview, write it down, look into it, go online, and if it's something that interests you and you can afford, please try to make your contribution to the world's future.
Thank you so much.
Their children. Priscilla Almquist-Olsen bidding you farewell. Lori, Wallace, again, thank you for being my guest.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Until next time, be well.
There's a storm across the valley. The clouds are